All right. Our next question is from Lisa McGinley, and it goes to Tim Bowles.
Thank you. I'm going to stay with the subject of finance for another question. In addition to the suggestions you both have made, we are interested in other ways in which you would create new revenue sources and cut costs. So, Mr. Bowles, would you please respond in general to whether you have other suggestions, and in particular to these two? Number one is changing the collective bargaining arrangement to find savings through lower benefits and greater contributions from state employees. And number two is to reform the property tax system to include some form of payments by nonprofits, including colleges and hospitals.
And that's why, again, I can't stress enough that we need a bipartisan approach to this. The problem up in Hartford, and this is going back to John Rowland, the budget hole that we have dug goes back to 3 administrations, including 2 Republican administrations. And part of the issue is that we have not brought the parties together that need to solve this problem. So what I'm calling for is, again, a bipartisan review of our whole budget and tax situation. I think it's imperative that we have some frank and bold discussions about this, and I think we need to take a look at the property tax. It is disingenuous for the state to cut the state budget and place the onerous fiscal constraints on the towns and municipalities. That's not cutting taxes. That's simply shifting the burden from the state to the local municipalities, and I think we have to do something about that.
And Ms. Summers, you have 90 seconds to respond.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Bowles on the property tax.
Is there anything we do visually as to why we're having some issues? Perhaps if you could try to...
Okay, can you hear me now?
I don't know. Yeah, we're having issues. Yeah, we'll see if we can pass this over and we'll share a mic. We'll ask questions with one. Sorry about that.
Just get started and then I have to stop, right? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right. Well, I would agree with Mr. Bowles on the property tax. You know, when the legislature this year said they didn't cut taxes, but they cut municipal aid, all we're left to do on the local level is to raise the property tax. So that doesn't serve anyone. I put a proposal in when I was the mayor of Groton to try to freeze property taxes for retirees that are 65 years and older. So I definitely think the property tax has to be looked at. As far as your other two questions, as far as what we can do to increase revenue, I think we have to change the business climate. If you look at the United States, all of the growth is coming out of companies that are 0 to 5 years old, entrepreneurial companies. We have no entrepreneurial growth in the state of Connecticut. That means that we're applying resources in the wrong area. If we want to change the course of Connecticut, we have to change the business climate so we become more friendly to businesses, because businesses are the job creators and they pay taxes. It's as simple as that. We can't tax our way to prosperity. We can't regulate our way to prosperity. It simply doesn't work.
Thank you. And you have another 30 seconds if you want to comment further on this exchange.
Well, I think the key thing that we need to do, and the number one priority that I would make, is job creation. We have been living through a very intense recession in this state, and particularly in the southeastern Connecticut. And I think some of the things that have been happening recently is the jobs, electric boat, thanks to Congressman Joe Courtney, they're adding 600 800 new jobs here in southeastern Connecticut. I will also talk a little bit later about what's happening at Preston Riverwalk.
Just to follow up, there was one aspect of that question I didn't hear any comments about from our candidates, so try again. Connecticut has one of the strongest collective bargaining laws in the country that sends discussions to mediation, binding mediation, in the event of an impasse. Some have called for amending that law, feeling it's tilted too much in favor of labor and the cost of labor. So if I could just get our candidates, we'll have 60 seconds each, starting with Mr. Bowles and then Heather Summers, to comment on your feelings about the collective bargaining law here in Connecticut.
The problem here is that going back again to Governor John Rowland, he was the one that signed off in the negotiations with the state unions on a pension and package deal that's lasting to 2020. I think he was probably aware that maybe it didn't make any difference if he was involved in that or not, but he gave us a sweetheart deal. And the fact is, we have also gone ahead, and the unions have come to the table on 3 different consecutive times to go ahead and negotiate in good faith to the point that we have diluted and seriously modernized our pension system here. We are now having a Tier 3B, I believe, at this point in time. So the pension benefits of old are certainly not the same as they are today. So I believe and respect the collective bargaining process. I think binding arbitration, really bodes well for both parties. It's very clear in terms of what the conditions are. So I do believe that we need to continue negotiations.
Sum up, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Summers, on collective bargaining, your views?
Well, I believe that the governor is the only one who can open that up right now. I think I'm open to everything. We know we have a major crisis. We have a major unfunded liabilities through pensions. I think we can fix this together, but we're going to need the union's help. I believe that Governor Malloy and the Democratic legislature have actually failed the unions. They've lied to them. They've laid them off. The Republicans had a plan last year to fix the budget with no union layoffs. We had a few furlough days. So I think it's time to work together in a bipartisan manner to see what we can do together, not on the union's back, but with the union together to make this work.